Hello, hello. Happy Juneteenth Eve. I hope everyone has been having a very wonderful, restorative, reflective, uh, food and drink filled, family, friends, and fun filled long holiday weekend, right? This newest uh, national holiday equals a day off for a lot of folks, but not for a lot of other folks who I think, for those of y'all who might have read the fine print on last week's, was it last week? Oh no, yesterday. It feels like a week ago. I went live to be like, hey y'all, I'm doing a Juneteenth special. It's simmering up. I'm so excited to share. Oh my goodness. Okay. I will say without any you know, not shame is not the word, without I guess without modesty, I am an amazing cook, an amazing mixologist, but and I love food analogies. So I was talking about simmering this up, making. I'm like, how hard can that be? I'm a great cook. Technology has a whole other plan, but luckily for us, y'all, if you ain't able to be here live, you can watch it later. I see comments, so somebody's here. Woo! Hey Ed, how you doing, man? If I knew how to send you a link, you could come on the show. Maybe I can figure out how to do that. I don't know. I don't know if I can do that once I've already started without disconnecting. So I'm gonna have to communicate with everybody through chat. I'm so excited. So whoever is here, please ask questions in the comments. I only see, yeah. Oh, right, because private chat isn't working because I don't have anybody in the studio, in the virtual studio. It's been such a learning curve, but I'm learning. And when I tell you, I'm not even going to tell you because it's going to sound like the dog ate my homework story. And oh, you want to go? I know. I should have known better, Ed. I should have. But you know what? When I'm trying to explain the story about how the never-ending sequence of obstacles. So then I was like, oh, I should tell people I'm at the 4 o'clock hour Pacific time. It's 5 o'clock in California now, and it is, I don't even know what time it is. It 8 o'clock? 8:04 in on the Eastern Seaboard. And I was like, yeah, I'll go on around 4. Whatever. We're not going to drag that out because, but the point is, I didn't think it was going to happen. I thought I was going to have to just send some note to people and be like, sorry, best laid plans. You know, Juneteenth is not just for today, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit. I think that's the important thing. This is the beginning of the freedom holidays, the freedom seasons, even though on the centuries timeline it happens after Independence Day, 4th of July. Um, Sequentially on a calendar, it precedes 4th of July because June comes before July. But it's really interesting now that all this history is starting to really become more accessible and unfold. Stuff that I had to hunt down and track down is now becoming more readily available, and I'm so glad about that because there are dots to connect going back as far as May from Cinco de Mayo and the importance of that battle, the implications that that has on Black Americans and all Americans really who are interested in freedom and liberty. So that's May. There's, of course, now Memorial Day has taken on such new meaning since May of 2020, Memorial Day. We all know, I'm not going to repeat what happened then. And the history around that. And then also, I believe that the anniversary of the Tulsa massacre, race riot, was in May or around that time. Anyway, but the interesting thing, it's all coming up. So these things, it's important to pick these days to mark them, and it's important to have a day like Juneteenth, which a lot of people are still not really clear on. And that's okay because there's a lot more information unfold. There's stuff that I'm officially a culinary scholar of Juneteenth, and I keep learning new stuff all the time. I was talking about people have a day off, but those of us who work in seasonal stuff and culturally significant stuff, something as important as this, there is no day off. Not complaining. I'm just saying, a lot going on. I was up in the Bronx. Oh, okay. Why aren't these comments showing up in the thing, y'all? I guess I have to go on to. Okay, so oh, good. All right, so I'm on LinkedIn. Hi, Edwin and Tivon. And did I see Chris? Chris Tang, I thought I saw you pop up. Okay, hello. Hey guys, I'm so happy you're here. Oh, and Matthew. Yeah, okay. This is great. And so for the people who aren't here and you're hearing me talk about people who are here, that's okay cuz y'all can still add comments too if and when you do tune in. Okay. So we are gathered here today for a Food Griot Juneteenth special. And unscripted, unrehearsed, planned, because I have a lot of stuff. I even have like videos and pictures, and that was the problem. All the stuff, the system just crashed, and all the stuff that I had, I'm not gonna tell you how much time, hours, I uploaded things. But you know what? Again, I've had a great weekend in work mode. I was in the Bronx Friday night and Saturday for an amazing event, Juneteenth related event. Dr. Harris spoke with Jamaica Kincaid, and there was a whole panel of people led by Dr. Scott Barton afterwards on sugar. But the thing is, there's a garden, an African American themed garden at the New York Botanical Garden in the Bronx that got planted last year. And each year they keep adding new stuff. So this year it's got a Caribbean plants theme. There is sugarcane up there. Sugarcane, rice, hibiscus, indigo, black eyed peas, of course, all kinds of greens. It's pretty phenomenal. I mean, there's stuff that I think technically only doesn't even grow in this longitude, latitude, but because they're a botanical garden and they're really smart and they have conservancies and they have indoor, places where they can incubate things and then put them in the garden and then kind of take them back, and they can kind of cheat, but in a natural way. It's amazing. I suggest you get up there. So I've been running back and forth. The Bronx is like going to Maine if you don't have a car. But anyway, I digress. So, all right, I do have a little mind map here. So I'm going to do my best to stick to this and tell you guys that, right, I have covered a lot of this stuff. So what I'm going to do right now, I have some videos here, some short and not so short video clips lined up, kind of in a sequence of order. I'm going to time travel us back to 2018 to before this was Juneteenth was a holiday. And in the food world, when people were starting to wake up to the importance of this symbolic holiday, because it's also important to know that it's a complicated holiday. I'm just going to tell y'all, and I'm going to point you towards stuff that I've written about it. I'm going to talk a little bit about it, but not a whole lot. I'm going to send you to my website and other things. I ain't even talked a lot about food yet, Devon, and I know I'm kind of hungry already. So maybe that's why I'm going to have to talk about food. I do have some red drink here, though, that I'm keeping far away from my keyboard. This is watermelon strawberry lemonade. Not spiked yet because I was still in work mode, not in happy hour mode. But I have a feeling that before this ends, I'm going to be in happy hour mode. See, look, this is not spiked. Okay, so yes, amazing food plants at the Botanical Garden. And Tavon, you're about to get real hungry right now because I'm about to go. The first thing we're doing first up is the first of all, I'm gonna switch my interface so you can see this full board with the ribs in the middle and the red beans, baked red beans over here. Healthy stuff, radishes, rhubarb, red peppers, that's more baked beans, watermelon, hot links, strawberries, that's a watermelon soda. So on my website, which if I shamelessly switch over to the slides here, I think I have a picture of my website somewhere. If you guys go to thefoodgrill.com, you can read about these articles. And look, I positioned it. Juneteenth recipes for all summer long. Because summer ain't even started yet, y'all. It's like tomorrow or the next day, summer solstice. And Juneteenth kind of kicks it off a little early. And like I'm saying, it's not, we don't have to only remember and raise a glass today and learn the history today. It's the beginning of freedom season. And matter of fact, a friend of mine, um, another colleague and scholar, has created the Uhuru days. Let me see if I can find that on here, because I put those up here for you guys too. Oh, here it is. Yeah, the Uhuru days, 17 days of freedom that go from when? Monday, June 19th, that would be like right now, to Wednesday, July 5th. Why July 5th? July 5th has incredible historical significance for Black Americans, especially. But I digress. I took that little detour real quick because, yeah, I was saying that, yeah, I wanted you to see the picture of all the food, but those are pictures of recipes that I foraged and curated for a project that if you go to the website, you'll find out more. But the important thing is, the reason why I have all these red red foods up there, is because those of you who know me know that I do not cook with, I don't make fake food. So, all the stuff about red drink originally, because Juneteenth comes out of Texas and they have some kind of big red soda, which is all fake, not a real thing in it in terms of, you know, um, but anyway, at least that's what I heard, that it's all fake. And Kool-Aid, we know that has no nutrients in it, but and the fake red dye. So what I do not do, what I won't do, is make anything with red dye number, whatever it is, because it's a known carcinogen. And I talk about that in one of the posts that I do about these red foods. So there are many ways to get beautiful red colors, using beets, using hibiscus, using strawberry juice, using all different kinds of stuff. So yeah, tomatoes, that's how you get this red on the ribs and stuff. All right, so without further ado, let's time travel a little bit back to 2018, when the James Beard House asked yours truly to moderate a panel of 3 Texas chefs. Each of these names you're seeing that popped up just now. Let me go back a little bit. Chef Chris Williams from Lucille's, Joy Chevalier. She does a cooking demo in this video. Don't worry, Tavon. Yes, Tracy Trey, no red dye for any of us. Okay, I'm gonna just tell you this. I'm gonna do this little digression, and we're gonna come back to Joy and Chris and the other chef in this conversation right here. But I'm gonna tell y'all this right now. This whole red drink thing and red foods is relatively new, because if you historically, when you go back to the documents of what people ate in the early celebrations for Juneteenth, it was like, first of all, it was just whatever the families, each respective family decided was celebratory. There's no set, spoiler alert, there's no one set Juneteenth menu. Okay, we're just gonna cut to the chase. But there are foods that are more appropriate for Juneteenth, like red color foods. But because of industrial food system and modern stuff and all this other stuff, we got basically played, meaning that we come from a culture where hibiscus, which has a million names, bissap, Jamaica, sorrel, all these things, it's used all throughout the continent of Africa, all throughout the Caribbean, even in parts of the South. I didn't know, I'm a Northern Negro myself, and I was not familiar with sorrel and hibiscus and all these things until I lived in New York. Now it's in everything. It's amazing. It's so good for you. It's so healthy. It's so full of antioxidants. It is so inky red naturally. It's got so many health properties. But that's a drink that has been, our ancestors have been, there are leaves from a flower that our ancestors have turned into beverages and drinks and teas and healing potions for millennia, right? And then you got the watermelon, which is from Africa. That is obviously red juice on the inside, because it's hydration and food at the same time. The kola nut, a lot of people don't know, also from Africa. The early teas that the West Africans, who are most of the people Black Americans are descendant of, kola nut was a sacred nut, but also it was used to freshen up water and to impart healing properties and spiritual, and that had a red tint to it. So we have a history of red drink, natural, healing, amazing, restorative red drinks. And in America, these industries are like, oh, Black people like red drinks. Let's make this fake stuff. And we have appropriated it. I mean, I'm not mad at it. We all know the Kool-Aid jokes and the red drink jokes. Very fun. Ha ha ha. But you know what? We used to be the longest living people in America in spite of all this racism and craziness. And after the Great Migration and industrial food system and urban living and working around the clock and that changed, and we became the face of food-related malaise. And I think that a lot of that has to do with being targeted and marketed by companies for nutritionally void products. And that's not okay anymore, So that's why anything I do this time, and it's easy. It's easy if you have the resources and the access to it and all this kind of stuff. I live in a neighborhood, this like perfect neighborhood for somebody who does what I do. A farmer's market across the street. Now, granted, a neighborhood that I probably would not be able to move into today, but I've been here so long and it has blossomed, and there's a farmer's market and a food co-op and one of the Whole Foods. I ain't mad at Whole Foods today. Down the street. So anyway, my point is, there's access to and ways to learn. The thing I love about the different farmers markets throughout New York is you interact with farmers and you learn about new things that you didn't even know about and stay in season. Oh my goodness! Wait, mujer, ¿qué se fuentes monares? Are you here? Why are your comments coming up under Chris Tang? Oh my goodness, mujer is here. Y'all are in the house on this extra Sunday night known as Monday holiday night. I'm so excited. Okay, all right, where were we? We're gonna go back to. We're gonna put me on the side. We're gonna look at the ribs again one more time. Sorry, Tavon. And anyway, so this is just a short clip of because it's like a hour and a half long. I'm not gonna do that to y'all. We're not gonna play this whole thing. I think what I have up here is like 2 minutes or something. And it's not even. Let's see what I even have up here. I'm telling you, I need an assistant, an intern, all the things. But the nerdy part of me is actually enjoying learning this stuff. So Chef Chris Williams,
tonight's esteemed moderator, Marcus Tanya Hopkins, also known as the Food Griot,
chefs, y'all,
who is a culinary historian, podcast creator, wine and spirits expert, businesswoman, and so much more.
I'm kind of talking over my intro, but yeah, these guys, yeah, they were amazing. I was so nervous. I'm like, why are they asking for a moderator from New York City to talk to these Texas chefs? Now, and I will say this. So Joy did a cooking demo. Now this is another real live vet. So these are my production skills y'all are witnessing. Okay, this is grassroots. This is no bells and whistles. This is not fancy. Okay, I'm just telling y'all right now. But but yeah, so that was this. So it all started back in 2020 during the pandemic, where they asked the New York City food historian to moderate a panel with 3 Texas chefs. Okay. And talk to them about Juneteenth. And I'm like, what? But it put me in a situation to be able to ask all the dumb questions and stuff. And I loved it. And Chef Chris, who was on High on the Hog, he was talking about one of the questions I asked him had to do with the proximity of Texas to and the fact that Texas was once Mexico, for those of us who have studied Spanish or speak it. Know that that's the true pronunciation, and that that history is complicated. It was part of Mexico. It wasn't. A lot of it had to do with they were just trying to hold on to the slaves. And when they found out that Mexico was like, no, we're done, they were like, okay, we'll be American now. But as you know, it's the last place where they're like trying to holding on to that lifestyle. So, but that said, the indigenous, the Native American, the Latino, the Mexican American, the Mexican people, the food cultures, the corn, tomatoes, beans, all these things come from Mesoamerica, right? So Chris spoke to that, the connection between authentically Mexican heritage, Mesoamerican cuisines, the brilliance of the cultivation of the indigenous people who brought us the corn, all of that, like those things that we don't really talk about, the connection of Black and Brown. Joy did this great, amazing demo of something, 2 dishes I learned, Texas caviar and also Texas caviar and this redfish dish, which you'll see a little bit later. Marcus was hilarious. He was talking about hot sauce, grits, all kinds of stuff. So what you're going to see next on here is just some imagery of a set of chefs, a set of Black chefs.
Tonight's moderator.
The first, they did the first, very first dinner at the Beard House, and it's Chef Tanya Holland, Chef Chris Scott, Chef Brother Luck, and Adrian Cheatham. And all 4 of those guys, it turns out, were on some season of Top Chef or something, and they remained friends. There they are. That's Adrian on the left, Tanya, Brother Luck, and Chris in the middle. Here's a little highlight video.
Knowing where we were and where we are now.
Oh, y'all.
It's about moving ahead. You know, it's about being together, a celebration of freedom. You know, it's all of those things combined.
Can you hear the audio? Can I get a thumbs up? Can y'all hear audio? I'm looking on the phone because some comments are coming through there and some comments are coming from through here. Mujer is in the house. Just came back from a Juneteenth camping trip. Okay, I wish I could. Okay, so this is Chef BJ Dennis. This is Omar Tate over here. So I'm gonna just pause so we can read some of these menu details. Okay, y'all. We got corn fritters, strawberry salad, okra stew, fried whole porgy, and red rice. What? Yeah, if I were to go back and to curate the recipes that the post that before this one, I would definitely add a red rice dish, like, because it's naturally red and full of nutrients and from Africa, because as most of the rice is Africa and Asia, but the American rice that we use originates in sub-Saharan Africa, and the transatlantic slave trade, the people who came here to create one of the most profitable crops in the history of American industry, rice. That's why they call it Carolina gold. Okay, yeah, this was the first video I kind of put together. I was like, should I do slides? Should I do video? What should I do? But don't worry, this one is just more like a video slideshow. There's a little more content in some of the other ones. What is the next one I want to show y'all? I showed you guys that one. Oh, up next, I'm going to talk about.
Tanya is a co-founder of the James Heming Society, and it's also a main.
No. We're going to turn that off because she has said that a million times already. Now we're going to go to Weeksville Society, where Dr. Jessica Harris, who is the author of High on the Hog, who is a colleague and friend, I moderated a conversation with her. New food ways that you're finding interesting. And so what I'm going to do now is be quiet for the next few minutes so you guys can hear some of the wisdom that she is dropping, talking about food. She just spoke Saturday night. I was with her at another beard event Saturday night where she was talking about how there's no set menu, and we were kind of creating a menu together. But I'll add that to the end of this. So I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to try to figure out how to share a link with you, Ed. Okay? All right.
Well, there is a new grain. There's several new grains, but the one that's gaining traction is something called fonio, Fonio. And it is a grain from Senegal. And it is another one of those superfoods. So we're learning about superfoods like fonio, like baobab, like a variety of things that are coming out of the African continent now that people are beginning to look at things differently. I'm beginning, frankly, to just look at the continent.
Right, exactly. And I love that example, right? Our friend, Chef Pierre Thiam, is on the forefront of having that available in markets. I think I saw it in Whole Foods.
Yeah, I think he is. It is in Whole Foods, and it does wonderful things. It's a lovely grain that you can do all kinds of things with, and then he's got it packaged so that he's got some that are already pre-seasoned, and it's definitely worth a look and worth a try. And particularly for folks who are, another whole new thread of food is kind of an everything old is new again thing, but going back to vegetarianism and forms of vegetarianism, certainly some of the original diets on the continent were vegetarian. Meat was, if at all, in the diet, certainly as a seasoner, not as,
as a compliment.
Yeah.
Right. It's the main feature, right?
Yeah, not as the main event. No, exactly. So a lot of those things are things that we are thinking about and things that we are returning to.
Absolutely, right? But plant-based diet, all these things that have buzzwords today, plant-based diet, farm to table, seasonal. These are things that African Americans, Black Americans, Negroes, whatever our name was at any point in time on the timeline, were the forebearers of.
Well, exactly. We were doing that, you know, when, just like I said, I was in food when food wasn't cool. We were doing all of that when it wasn't cool.
Right. Or when yeah, but or not acknowledged. You know, now it's as if some people have discovered that or are doing that.
Yeah.
It's like, no. Let's see. I got another question here regarding recipes. This is from Weeksville Heritage Center. I think of the archive and the repertoire of how written recipes as concrete knowledge transfers. Do you think recipes passed down orally provide for more improvisation? That's an interesting question.
Well, I mean, I think written and oral recipes provide for improvisation. I am incapable of following even my own recipes because I improvise.
Same.
So, I mean, I think that in some ways that's just how things go.
Right.
I was in a conversation earlier today with Carla Hall, and we were talking about recipe and the need to capture family recipes. But the idea was, in the capturing of them, we have gotten to an age where people don't really think about improvising. It's like the recipe says a quarter teaspoon of salt. I better use a quarter teaspoon because if I don't, it's like, no. If you're on a salt-free diet, take it out.
Right.
If you know that you don't need salt in your diet, take it out. Use lemon juice, improvise, begin to think of what some of the substitutions and the exchanges might be. We are, I think, way, way, way too grounded in recipe, as though we were talking architecture. It's not architecture.
It's not.
It is fluid. I qualify that by saying, if you're baking, follow the instructions. But if you're cooking, you can improvise. Right. And if you're baking, you get to a point, because God knows my mother was that person, you get to a point where you can improvise, but you have to know the basics and the proportions and what you're doing.
Right, you have to have a foundational skill set on that.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that's a trend I am feeling with some relief from, a liberation, pun intended, on this freedom holiday, from the rigidity of recipes and recognizing that it is a guidepost, you know, a guideline, a blueprint. Speaking of recipes, shameless plug real quick for our girl Carla. She's got the soul food book that I worked on. She's got a great Juneteenth menu in there, in the holiday section. We didn't talk about red foods yet.
No, and we may not have time to, because I'm getting ready to have to ring off and get to another one of these.
Okay, let me squeeze this in here. I see one more question. It's 3:30, so just give me the you know, when you gotta, or just click out when you gotta bounce. But do you believe, this is from Ariel Leggett, do you believe it's possible to be vegan when traveling to the continent and enjoy the food? Everything looked delicious in the first 2 episodes, and I was wondering what a vegan could eat.
Well, I think a vegan could have eaten a fair amount of things. I mean, there are certainly plant-based mashes. There are plant-based, sauces that go over the mashes. There are sauces made with simply okra. No animal protein at all. The question might be what kinds of oils are being used, what kind of oils the person can use. I mean, because that's one of those places where red palm oil becomes useful because of its amounts of vitamin A and D.
I think that's all the segment we have for that segment, y'all. Guess what, Ed? I found the StreamYard link where you can join if you want. if you're still there. I just sent it for anybody. You guys want to, I'll see you come on behind, the scenes, and then if I can figure out how to let you in the studio. But so no pressure if anybody's having a bad hair day like I was, but I came on anyway because I said I would. I was like, I told folks I was going to do a Juneteenth special. I was like, and then like it just looked like it wasn't going to happen because technology was like, I was like, I took it as a sign. I'm like, maybe I'm not supposed to. Maybe the ancestors want me to go be reflective and quiet and meditate and do some libations and all that. But anyway, here we are. So I'm seeing a message saying can't post comments to some destinations, but I don't know. I don't know what that's about. I can text it to any of you guys directly, of course, but I'm over here trying to orchestrate this, trying to orchestrate this whatever this is, this control board. It was a laptop. Now it's a full-on spaceship that I'm trying to manage. Yes, meditate on some grub. Yeah. Oh, look, I know how to show. I could like add y'all's comments. So you better be nice to me, because if you're not nice, I'm gonna put you up here. I'm gonna out you everybody. Look at that lovely face, Karen Cifuentes Manares, de la corazón, del amor, de todo. All right, who else we got up here? Tracy Brown, Tracy Trey. Let's see. Red dye. Yes. Tracy says, I agree. No red dye for me. Okay. All right, y'all. See, this is why I don't do stuff like, I mean, I'm having fun interacting. I didn't even think about that. I was so like in nerd mode, like, I'm going to do a Juneteenth special and I'm going to share information with people. But then folks showed up. I was like, oh, y'all are here. And now I want to just talk to people. Okay. So what I'll probably have to do is edit this for my Patreon community so that I actually am giving them real stuff and not silly stuff. I know. That's a whole issue. I'm going to put this up, Trace. No healthy options in the hood. It really is problematic. And it's problematic for reasons that we don't even know that we don't know. I mean, I was so heartbroken last year when that whole Buffalo grocery store situation went down. It was just, and as a historian, as a food historian, because now they still don't have anything. That was not even enough. Right. But as a food historian, I know that was not always the case. In fact, another horror associated with grocery stores, the people, the business owners who were lynched, who sparked Ida B. Wells' whole campaign around anti-lynching and the red, I'm forgetting the noun, but the campaign that she did, and she printed in mainstream papers and Black papers and raised the awareness to the horrors of post-emancipation, post-freedom lynchings and so forth that were happening throughout the United States. They were grocery store owners who somebody, they were a threat to the white patriarchal grocery store people who wanted to treat the Black people like crap, but still wanted them to shop at their store, I guess enter in the back door, but still give them their money. And this successful Black grocery store like that. So there's so many pieces in history, and I don't want to, stay in a dark place, but it's important on a day like today where so many people are getting a day off or got a day off and have no clue or don't care about what the real history is or want to simplify it and think that, oh, it's Black Independence Day. No, it isn't. Because guess what? A lot of Black people self-emancipated themselves long before the soldiers marched into Galveston. There are different slaves were freed in New York in 1827. People still continue to struggle. And even after this June 19th date, people continue to struggle. So, and because they had nothing, they weren't given land grants. There's a quote from Dr. King that I love to read that talks about freedom for the Negro was freedom to the rains and the wind, freedom to hunger, freedom without land, without any resources. Whereas a lot of European immigrant families that were coming were given land grants, literally, to start farms. But that's a whole other conversation. And I'm saying this to say that it is part of American history, it's part of American policy. Unless we know these things, they will repeat themselves. It's not about demonizing any group of people. It's about understanding the powers that be that have created situations that create things like no healthy options in the hood, or income inequality by design. From culinary alone, Black people should be like the Rockefellers. The number of industries that were created, the ice cream industry, the catering industry, Evan, okay, I'll text it to you. The catering industry, so many industries were created, so much money, but there's a pattern, in capitalism being like, oh, that's good, I'll take that and profit from it. What else you got? So I can't see you guys anymore. I hope you can see me. I hope you can see me still. And I hope I can find you after I text this thing to Ed, because that's another thing. When you have too many windows open, it's hard to kind of find the window that is open. But all right, I texted it. Okay, so wish me luck on. Oh, here you guys are. Hello. And I'm sorry, it's so dark. Maybe I should move over to my desk. Can you guys see me? I can't see y'all, but I can see y'all sort of. All right, moving right along. So that was from an event called Meals as Collective Memory, in conversation with Dr. Jessica B. Harris about some of what you heard and a lot more. That also was about an hour-long conversation. So now we're going to travel over to... Oh, I'm going to show you guys. I think the first time I did something official as a Juneteenth culinary history expert, I was on Good Morning America. Well, you'll see it. I have a little 2-minute clip where the Good Morning America people were on Good Morning America, and I kind of pop up and say a sentence here and there. And then my friend, our mutual friend, Dr. Harris mentioned Carla Hall. She did a cooking demo afterwards. So this is my call to action. I'm like, I'm going to show y'all a little bit, but if you want to see the cooking demo, no, I'm kidding. It's out there. You can find it. But seriously, I do curate these things, and I'll hook you up. If anything that I have talked about but have not shown or given to you, just let me know. Because y'all are my peeps. I see who's here. I got nothing but love. All right. So now here's the Juneteenth.
Juneteenth, for many African Americans across the country, is about taking a moment to enjoy the progress of the community while paying homage to its struggle.
Here's a little history.
Widely considered to be African Americans' true Independence Day, the holiday originated in Texas, where the last 250,000 people still being held in slavery finally learned from Union soldiers they were free, nearly 3 years after the Emancipation Proclamation had been signed.
There are stories of people dancing in the streets, and from that moment forward, that would have been June 19th, 1865. The following year, there are celebrations documented as early as 1867.
Juneteenth celebration! Resulting in celebrations of music, parades, and food. Meaning is draped in every part of the celebration today.
Juneteenth fabulous fries.
And the food of Juneteenth is no exception. Red foods like strawberry pies, red velvet cakes, red punch, and more are a must-have. The colors symbolizing the blood of those lost during the struggle for emancipation.
For a lot of people, that's the same thing about why are there red foods? But there is symbolism behind it. African Americans are uniquely connected to American foodways like no other group of Americans, making amazingness out of things that someone may not value.
But in addition to the food, the celebrations serve as an ode to ancestors, a day of collective thank you to a people who made a way out of no way.
So that was my little national TV debut as a Juneteenth food expert. Whoop, whoop. But I didn't show it just to show off. I showed it because I was dropping some knowledge. But of course, I dropped a lot more knowledge than the edited version you saw here. So I'm trying to weave some of that into here. I'm also going to point and guide you guys to where you can find a lot of that. And then, this is like, I'm going to take this off because this is a set of recipes that I curated. And this year, what I've done is gone and done a deeper dive on the recipes and curated them into menus because it was for food.com and they just listed 24 recipes that that was a whole thing. You got to read the blog post I wrote about that because I was like, you want me to curate other people's recipes? I'm like, I have a reputation to uphold. I don't know if these people could cook, but I had to put on my professional hat and analyze the recipes and be like, oh, that's a good list of ingredients. I approve that. But this year, I went through and I talked about the stuff that if it was my recipe, here's what I would do. Okay. Like instead of the all-purpose flour, I would have the gluten-free flour. Yes. Which I know is expensive and bougie, but I actually have a bona fide gluten allergy, y'all. So don't be hating. All right. Don't be hating. I'm sad because I can't see any more comments. They were here and then now they're gone. All right. Okay. Maybe that'll help me focus and I'll just move on to the next little clip I want to share, which is from the Old Stone House, which is a Juneteenth project I did for them. And I know I'm hungry too. All right. So our little impromptu guest who I found the link for and texted it to and all that is updating me and us, therefore, that they are starving. As am I. Bring me some food. Okay. Are y'all coming to Brooklyn? All right. Oh, okay. Hey, Val. Welcome back. Welcome back to New York. All right, y'all. I got to come up there and see y'all soon. We'll see each other soon. So no special guest, but if anybody else wants to come on, I'll text you the link. So so now we're going to the Old Stone House where actually currently right now on my Facebook page, the Food Grill Facebook page, and I think that's the only place I have it right now, is the full-length video. But I'm not going to play the full-length video. I'm just going to play some of the fun food parts because it talks about also the importance of red foods for this special holiday. For those that love the delicious greens like me, even though red foods are prominent, greens are always important. Uh-oh. We started with strawberries. In our gardens here at the Old Stone House, the strawberries have already been eaten up. It's such a short season for strawberries, but we do have raspberries coming along nicely in the South Garden, and the June berries are out in the pollinator garden. There's also some beautiful red stem chard for those that love the delicious greens like me. Even though red foods are prominent, greens are always important. During the pandemic, I was working with Chef Denzel Washington, who was making hearth meals here at the Stone House. I was mentoring him in culinary history, so I designed 2 Juneteenth themed menus that went along with some sides of history that you can find on the Old Stone House website if you're looking for inspiration or recipe ideas for foods to make to celebrate Juneteenth with your family. Red food and drinks are really important for the Juneteenth celebration. Why red food and drink, you might ask? Well, the color has a historical and cultural continuity to societies throughout Western Africa. Red color in these ancient African societies played very important spiritual, ritual, and even royal roles in the societies for centuries. And it is also the color of our collective human life force. And it's also symbolic of the bonds, the blood ties for family, because many people, the first thing that they did immediately upon hearing about the news of freedom and emancipation was to go and look for and find and search out family members and loved ones. Old Stone House's scholar in residence, Mr. Dylan Yates, the Old Stone House staff, and myself, we are actively continuing to investigate the legacy of slavery here at the Old Stone House and their descendants. And we are looking at what happened to those enslaved here and ways to better commemorate and communicate the important legacy and the stories for more inclusive history. So if you are interested in helping us out with this endeavor, please do reach out. You can visit us here in person at the Old Stone House or online at theoldstonehouse.org. We have visitors right now. And be sure to join us for the upcoming in our mini series for July 4th and also August 27th, which commemorates the Battle of Brooklyn that was fought on these grounds here in the Revolutionary War. So 2 other very independence and freedom themed occasions and historic dates. In the meantime, cheers to Juneteenth. You can follow the Food Griot, or you can check out thefoodgriot.com to subscribe to get the recipe for this delicious, if I must say so myself, very culturally relevant, historically inspired drink, which can also be a cocktail, celebrating this important commemoration. Cheers. I am not impressed with this video playback quality. So this is, a fun, scrappy live rendition of what I'm doing. But I think what I'm going to have to do is either me or somebody who's better at this on my team. My team. That's an affirmation. I'm saying that. Well, at least I got all the elements. At least I have them all laid out because they're not really coming together cohesively in this moment. But whatever. We're celebrating Juneteenth and we're acknowledging that Juneteenth is the beginning of a season of freedom, right? And thank you, Ed, for the great video call. It's choppy on my end, so hopefully it's not choppy for you guys. Hopefully you're able to actually see things because for me, from what I can see, there's an image. I'm talking, but I'm not there, and then the image doesn't line up with the narration. But whatever. So yeah, you can watch the whole thing on the Food Griot page, Facebook page. That is all right. So now. I think that is a nice segue to. Oh, we did talk about we talked about y'all. I gotta eat some food. We talked about I'm doing this thing. I don't know. I wouldn't call it intermittent fasting, but I would call it like long periods of time in between the last time you eat and the next time you eat, which is actually really helpful in the scheme of things. But sometimes I push it a little too far and I'm just like, nobody knows. And which is why there's no alcohol in here because there's not enough like sponge in my stomach just yet. Happy Juneteenth. Our Emmanuel Scott we go way back to the Free Pajama days, right? Back to Mount Hollywood. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you guys so much. Everybody's so busy. We all have a million things to do, but I also know that sometimes we got to take a break, learn a little something, food for thought, in addition to the food that we also like to consume and enjoy on the multi-sensory level. All right, so now what I'm trying to do is we have looked at the ABC thing. We have looked at the JBF. We looked at the other thing. I had a nice conversation with this. It was a cross-generational radio show I used to be part of when I was with WURD, one of the nation's only Black-owned and operated radio stations that I was blessed to have a show on Sundays, Sunday morning, which everybody here knows that's never a good idea for Tanya to have a consistent morning commitment. But I held it for a year and some change. But I was always like, can we change the time to Sunday afternoon? I was like, your audience is in church. Come on now. Let's make it a brunch show or a early Sunday supper. So that's kind of what I'm doing now, is getting back into that groove. But I was intentionally not committal about like what time I was going to do this today, because why? It's a holiday, not for me technically, but I was like, what I'm not going to do is like stress out completely about the exact precise time, because it's being recorded and I love the organic nature. If you can join me now. If you need to catch more later, catch it later. If you need to go to the website, sign up for my newsletter, join my Patreon, Follow me on Instagram, because there's all kind of content on all the platforms and all the mediums. So I ain't gonna tell you everything here anyway. So okay, so let's see. I pulled these slides up because I wanted to show you. This is just me showing off of all the different Juneteenth things I've done. Credentials, like, yes, I qualify to tell you all about Juneteenth and all the things. But July 5th, and I'm not even going to act like on an empty stomach right now. I can tell you the full story, but I will say that the colleague I mentioned, Gray Jones, also Dr. Dylan Yates, who's a scholar in residence at the Stone House, we worked together on the history there about the actual African enslaved people who lived. I'm pointing this way because it's literally right there outside this window, a stone's throw away. I feel like the whole thing is ancestrally orchestrated, but that's another conversation. So we're doing this work together. We're putting programs together, and we're going to be doing a program, virtual and real, around Independence Day, July 5th, and also the Battle of Brooklyn, y'all, right here on like my street 250 years ago. The first battle against the British in the Revolutionary War was fought. This little stone house was a fortress. And spoiler alert, they actually lost this battle. This was not a battle that won. Washington did not win. The British won this battle. And like New York was occupied by Brits for a long time. Okay, that's a whole nother conversation. But we did, spoiler alert, we the Americans in charge at the time won the war, obviously. We don't all talk like this. Otherwise, if we talk like this, it might be a clue that we didn't win. But anyway, I digress. July 5th, historically, is a very important day for Black Americans in New York in particular, and maybe other places, because these stories, I'm hearing stuff is like, it's just phenomenal, the renaissance that's happening right now. But on this day, Black people boycotted July 4th. Frederick Douglass does this whole incredible speech where he talks about what is July 4th to the American Negro, to the slave. And I'm trying to do my Frederick Douglass voice right now. I don't know why, but I just am. And beautiful, powerful words. And just I encourage you to Google the full speech. I don't know if there are any in the Library of Congress or whatever, any existing record. I'm in this moment, I'm going to ask a dumb question. I don't know if there are any recordings, any digitized recordings of Frederick Douglass's voice. I'm assuming there are not, but the written speech exists, and people who people, performers reading it. It's really powerful stuff. So we're going to be doing some stuff around July 4th. Also in August, around Battle of Brooklyn, yours truly is going to be doing some kind of, I can't even explain it. It's something about Madeira and wine history and the connection to the revolution and the yes, the Black people are part of the story who held down all of the things in terms of growing the food, preparing it, all this kind of stuff, including being wine stewards. People don't realize that. Okay, so I think that I have talked enough about everything on these slides that I wanted to tell you. I want to talk more about this, but honestly, I'm still learning about it too, this whole 17 days of freedom. But basically, it's the 17 days between today and July 5th. And what I'm going to do is create content out of it and try to share as much as I can. Today's the first day, tomorrow's the next day, about what the individual freedoms are that are being listed. Because, matter of fact, I might even have a bigger version of that where we can read some of these freedoms. So if I take this out, remove this from here, and put myself on the side, the freedom to keep and raise one's own children. Okay, yeah, no, I can't read this right now because I will need a box of tissues. The freedom to protect and make decisions about one's own body, and that includes our food choices. I'm working on a food and imprisonment piece, which is really difficult to work on because, as we know, in a lot of ways, for many Black Americans over the decades, or I guess the centuries since emancipation, imprisonment has been a form of slavery by another name in many ways, which is utter control over the body and no access to your food. I can't even imagine that, but we have to imagine that because it's another form of not freedom. particularly for people who don't deserve the sentences. But we're not going to go into that. But this second one made me think of that, because I think in terms of food and such. And so making decisions when you don't have choices, whether it's financial or from other lacks of freedom to decide what food you eat. I mean, I think about that a lot as a person with food allergies, and how I'm sure there are people who don't have that freedom of choice with food allergies and don't have that choice. So anyway, there's a whole list of freedoms that are going to be meditated on between now and then, which is why I'm telling y'all, do not fret that this has happened, that I'm like on CP time with this Juneteenth special, because this is just the beginning. It's popping off the freedom season. Freedom season, y'all. Freedom season. All right. So I'm going to take off this thing. I think I have another. Oh, now I'm confused. Oh, okay. I think that I have another video to share with you. Oh, I have a drink demo. How fun is that? I think I'm going to save the drink demo till last. Let me see how long I've been on here. Oh my God, I've almost been on here for an hour. That is way too long. So let me think. Okay, I'm going to play the part of the conversation, the cross-generational conversation about other things, other important things related to June and food. June is also, it is also, what is it? Fruit and Vegetable Month, Soul Food Month, Black Music Appreciation Month, in conjunction with
Soul Food Month. I didn't know June was Soul Food Month.
Girl, June is Soul Food Month.
Come on here.
I had the creator, the person who did the work behind the scenes. You got to register stuff or whatever. Miss Charla Draper was on my show this past Sunday talking about June is Soul Food Month and all the events that she has. So I'm as busy in June, maybe busier now than I was in February for Black History Month, and then we'll be again in December for Kwanzaa, because there's a lot of food associated with Kwanzaa. But I say all that to say, so I've been doing a lot of Juneteenth work. So the number one thing is barbecue. Because the weather. Also, it has something to do with the red sauce, because foods that have the color red, whether it's a sauce or a drink, pronounced drank for Juneteenth, red drank, or whether it is like red velvet cake, red velvet cupcakes, or radish salads. I curated all these recipes for food.com that just came out today. So there's 24 recipes that I found on their website that people did. And today most of them was red, but a while ago. Red. Not that long. I got some red cabbage on there, Kayla.
Red cabbage. So for folks making a Juneteenth plate, what should be on it?
All right. So, here's the thing. The typical soul food plate, only got 3, 4, tops 5 things. I'm going to give people creative license. Okay. And I just told you I got 24 recipes I done curated for this thing. You can't put 24 things on your plate. Maybe you can, a spoonful, but you can't put a spoonful of a rib. So, who are you talking to? You answering phones? Oh, I completely I was supposed to.
Listen, that's what you got to do when you're the producer and the host. You got to answer the phones and conduct the interview. You were supposed to keep talking. You got distracted.
You're doing all the things. And as I was watching you, I was like, I should just keep talking about the Juneteenth plate.
Yeah, just keep talking.
That would be helpful. All right. So, different types of barbecue, whether it's ribs or, pork ribs or beef ribs or hot links are a thing. So there's a connection between Juneteenth and Texas, because that's where it took place, right? Back in 1865.
Right.
But it's relevant to all of us, because it's symbolic of freedom and emancipation that takes place at different points in time for different communities of Black people throughout the South, throughout the North. But anyway, so there's a lot of Texas stuff. Texas barbecue. Texas barbecue tends to be beef based.
Yeah, beef brisket.
We got a red fish in Texas that I put on this menu. So that's the proteins. Hot links, because sometimes hot links can be the red ones, the bright red ones.
Yes.
And then you move into the salads, and you were asking about. Were you asking me about pasta salad? I call it I call it macaroni salad.
Yeah, I call it so we have multiple. I have macaroni salad and pasta salad, different.
Oh, you all nouveau, because I didn't grow up. The black world I grew up, we didn't have pasta salad until that comes on the scene.
Pasta salad is with the tricolor noodles, tricolor rotini noodles with cucumbers, pepperoni, celery, carrots. Yeah.
I mean, you can have that on your plate if you want. You can have whatever you want, Miss Kayla. Whatever your favorite barbecue sides are.
Just give me the ribs. I don't need no sides.
Okay, ribs. And then, like, since you love cabbage, you could do some red cabbage, or you can make a red cabbage slaw. Or y'all see how I was trying to get this millennial to embrace the vegetables that she does like, because, like, yeah, it's important. It's important, and especially because June is fruit and vegetable month. What? All right, I'm going to just skip a little bit ahead because I wanted to show the part where I give a shout out to Nicole Taylor on her book. Nicole Taylor wrote the first book about Juneteenth. I don't think I have. Oh, yeah, I have my copy right here, but I'm sitting in the dark and I have the blur on. So I don't even know if you guys are going to be able to see that. Oh, you can see it, maybe. There's such a delay. But anyway, it's called Watermelon and Redbirds. And it is a cookbook for Juneteenth and Black celebrations, because Juneteenth is one day, y'all, and it's over in 3 hours on the Eastern Seaboard. But I'm encouraging you to think of it as one of those holidays that isn't forgotten after today, because it really does have a lot of opportunity to learn history and to learn civics and to learn policy and to really understand, reflect, and contemplate on what freedom is and what it isn't, and what work is still left to be done. So, yeah. So since I just gave that shout out there, I guess I don't have to find it here.
Got you. We have a comment over here on Word TV. Miss Phyllis said,
yeah, I think we're gonna wrap up this word conversation, because the thing I was holding on for. A colleague of mine, Miss Nicole Taylor,
here we go,
wrote the first ever Juneteenth cookbook, which I'm holding up on the camera for those who are tuned into Word TV, wordradio.com. Yeah, so we're gonna have her on. She's gonna do a little reading from this. This is the first cookbook dedicated to Juneteenth. She's going to talk about that on this Sunday, Juneteenth. So she's got the book.
Oh, yeah. I was supposed to cut that off before then, because obviously that was a pre-recorded segment. All right. So we are in home stretch, y'all. We're going to,
right. You do need some foundational stuff.
We're going to come out of that conversation. We're going to switch the topic from food to drink, and do like a little, you'll get a glimpse, you'll get a 2-minute glimpse of a red drink demo that I did. The drink I designed is called the Free Spirit. Get it? Because you should have freedom to use your spirit of choice. And there's some other freedoms you should have, which I talked about in the beginning. So let's hear that. And then we'll wrap this up after this. This is just about, I think, 2 minutes. Enjoy.
Lovely introduction. I'm all about recipe liberation. And what that means is there's a lot of rigidity in recipes. Culinary stuff should be a creative expression, right? You do need some foundational stuff. You need ratios and all that. But you also need the opportunity to be able to express. In reality, it's never going to be the same exact dipstick every time. The seasons change, right now, here it is summer. I'm going to start with cocktails, the cocktail demo. Why? Because cocktails always come first, right? This was a drink that I originally designed. I'm calling it the Free Spirit. The Free Spirit, culturally relevant, ancestrally inspired, historically informed, red drink, drank.
So what you just saw pop up was a version of this year's Free Spirit. I developed the Free Spirit back in, I'm not sure if I developed in 2020 or 2021, but I have built upon it since then. But the important thing is to find ingredients that are simpatico with all of the major 5 spirits, I believe, whether it's, a version of whiskey or whiskey or bourbon or scotch in that category, or cognac or brandy or tequila, mezcal, or gin or vodka, and this recipe won, and it's beautifully naturally red. So you just got a picture of this year's version, which I made with 10-to-1 rum, which is a Black owned and operated rum, and I am just being introduced to it. It's one of the most delicious rums. So I'm so excited because rum month is August, and I'm simmering up some content for that. But this year I've been exposed to some of the most beautiful rums I've ever had, made by Black people in Haiti and in Trinidad. And it's been a long time coming because I've been writing about rum and researching it for a long time and waiting for that to happen. And it's happening. There's still, a lot of work to do, but at least it's happening. So that's what you just saw. That's what this year's one is doing. And so let's see, what am I talking about?
DRANK is how you're supposed to actually
pronounce
red
it.
Drank. Red drink. And that's appropriate for Juneteenth this time. And again, I'm not giving you guys measurements because I don't know if you're making a batch. This is a great recipe to make batch cocktails, and the ratios usually are, for me, I made it really simple: equal parts everything, and then you can tweak based on your taste. I have a very, I practically drink pickle juice. I love tart, I love olives, I love sour stuff. So I'm gonna skew more towards that. But Americans have a total sweet tooth, so that people might want to add a little more syrup. Like some frozen strawberries. Oh, that's cute, right? Just to keep it chill. Cheers, guys. Who's got a glass? Even if you guys have a water bottle, let's just do a toast. Happy summer, happy Juneteenth. Because that's how I'm feeling right now. A little fancy. I'm impressed with myself, y'all. Talking while I'm pouring in unspecified amounts. Yum. Ooh, that's really good. And red-hued food.
Yeah, that was good. And I think I'm gonna have to make one of those real quick or real soon as I wrap up my 1 hour, 6 minute. My plan was to talk to y'all for 20 minutes, but I know whoever's still listening is laughing, belly laughing right now, because is that even possible? But maybe what I can do is, oh no, somebody's calling me, and I'm still online. Maybe what I can do is turn this into, if y'all can still hear me, I can turn this into 3 20-minute conversations, right? I don't know. Part 1, 2, and 3, or not. All right, y'all. In home stretch here. I know I'm going to hang up from this thing and be like, dag, I completely forgot to tell them. But no, seriously though. As I'm in the middle of a business boot camp for the Food Griot, and I'm learning things like call to action and marketing campaigns, email campaigns. So I really am excited about developing some email campaigns and sending out stuff that way, rather than just hopping on a live stream when nobody has no idea when I'm going to, pop up. But whatever. Yes, some of them are scheduled. I do create events that you can know what time and tune in when I have actual guests. But like this, I was like, I ain't got no guests. I'm just giving away free information. So I get there when I get there. Folks will get what they want when they get it, or get what they're going to get when they get it, and what they miss, they can come back for. And you see the scrolling, follow the Food Griot if you're not already, because the numbers matter. Don't even make me talk about analytics. But also, when you go to, and I thought I put that slide up, but this time last year, on this very day last year, on Juneteenth 2022, the Food Griot website went live. And I am so grateful to an organization, a company, a business called Artivistus, run by Mr. Christopher Owens, who has also had a busy weekend. He's a musician. I think he did a Juneteenth concert that I wasn't able to go to because I was in the Bronx. But He has this very this just very benevolent business that is about finding and supporting marketing for revolutionary artists in different genres. So he's got musicians, actual artists who paint, artists who are more in the performance art. Turns out I'm a performance artist. Who knew? Storyteller, show host, raconteur, narrator. So yeah, and I'm lucky to be one of those in the lineup of artists that was able to receive some help to develop a website, which launched a year ago today. So if anybody's still here with me, I'll figure out how to find out. But raise a glass with me of gratitude for this website, which is growing. If you go to it today, thefoodgriot.com. I didn't make that banner. I should. But if you do follow me on Instagram at the Food Griot, I have a link tree, and you click on the link tree, and you got a whole lot of options. And one of them is the website, and the website has some Juneteenth content on there. The articles I was telling you about, and there's also a Patreon, but I'm not ready to talk about that tonight. And so I'm going to turn this off. I think I have played all my little videos that I lined up for you guys. That's pretty impressive. I'm just going to look at the notes one last time, the scribbles, to see if there's anything else that I want to share with you guys. Oh yeah, in addition to the email campaign, I talked about that. So that also includes newsletters. And I told you about the upcoming stuff. So I think that's it. Unless anybody has any questions they want to type in and ask, which I think you would have done that by now. Yeah. Oh, thank you for all the love, y'all. Team Groovy. Groovy's my nickname, everybody, just so you know. Another nickname is Ton. And what else? Oh, this was the StreamYard thing if anybody wanted to come on, but too late. All right, guys. Have a beautiful, blessed week. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for taking time out to learn a little bit about Juneteenth through the lens of food and drink. And thank you for staying in touch through all the different ways I gave you to stay in touch. And stay tuned. Happy Juneteenth week. Happy Freedom Season, right? And thank you so much. You guys are great. Next time, I'm gonna make sure that somebody in here comes on here with me and yucks it up a little bit. All right, y'all. Without further ado, 1 hour, 12 minutes into my live session today, I'm signing off. The Food Griot is saying ciao for now. Love, peace, soul. Mwah.